Disclaimer: this video is not financial advice, it is for educational purposes only. Please do your own research before making any financial decisions. If you find this content helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel for more insights. Now let's get started. Forget everything you thought you knew about building wealth. The old playbook? It's been ripped to shreds, tossed out the window, and set on fire. For generations, the path was clear. Get a good job, save for a down payment, buy a house, and wait. That was the American dream. But for Gen Z, that dream looks less like a suburban house with a white picket fence and more like a diversified portfolio on a 6-inch screen. The question is, why? Why are millions of young people, the most educated and digitally native generation in history, turning their backs on the cornerstone of traditional wealth and diving headfirst into the volatile, fast-paced world of the stock market? All right, let's get real. Why are so many Gen Zers picking stocks over real estate? I've spent weeks buried in the data, talking to analysts and scrolling through the trenches of FinTalk and Wall Street Bets. I've crunched the numbers until my calculator begged for mercy, and I've dug into the trends that are rewriting our financial future. And trust me, the answer is far more profound than they're obsessed with apps or memes. This isn't just a trend, it's a revolution. And it all starts with one massive, insurmountable wall: accessibility. First up, accessibility. Let's talk about buying a home in today's world. The average house price in America has skyrocketed to over $400,000. Now, the old school advice is to put down 20% to avoid extra fees and get a good interest rate. A quick calculation, that's $80,000 in cash. Let that sink in. For a generation saddled with historic levels of student debt, facing wage stagnation and navigating a gig economy, saving $80,000 is not just difficult. For many, it feels statistically impossible. It's a decade-long sacrifice, a period of putting your entire life on hold, just for the entry ticket. And even if you perform that Herculean task, you then have to enter the gladiator pit of the modern housing market. You're not just buying a house, you're fighting for it. You're competing with people who can outbid you by 50 grand without blinking, all cash offers from investment firms, and bidding wars that turn the dream of homeownership into a soul-crushing nightmare. You're signing up for a 30-year mortgage, a financial commitment longer than many Gen Zers have been alive, chaining yourself to a single piece of property and a mountain of debt. The barrier to entry isn't just high, it's a fortress, and most young people are on the outside looking in. Now, let's look at the alternative. Stocks. What's the down payment for the stock market? $5, the price of a coffee. Thanks to the explosion of fintech apps and the concept of fractional shares, the game has completely changed. You don't need $3,000 to buy one share of a mega-cap company anymore. You can start with just $5. You tap a few buttons on your phone while waiting for the bus, and boom! You own a piece of Apple, a sliver of Tesla, a stake in your favorite ETF that tracks the entire S&P 500. This isn't just about lower cost, it's a profound psychological shift. The feeling of being locked out is replaced by a feeling of immediate participation. You're not saving for a decade to start building wealth. You're doing it. This accessibility removes the single biggest point of friction and turns investing from a distant dream into a daily habit. Now, let's talk flexibility. The world has changed. The idea of working for the same company for 40 years and living in the same town is ancient history. Gen Z values mobility, experiences, and the freedom to pivot. They might live in 3 different cities in 5 years, chasing new job opportunities, or even work remotely as a digital nomad. A house is an anchor, a massive, illiquid asset that ties you down. Need to sell your house? Good luck. That's a whole process. We're talking months of listings, staging, showings, gut-wrenching negotiations, and praying the market doesn't dip right when you need to sell. And don't forget the fees. Realtor commissions, closing costs, repairs. You can lose 10% or more of your home's value just in the process of selling it. Your equity, your wealth is trapped. It's like trying to steer an aircraft carrier. It takes an eternity to change course. Stocks, on the other hand? That's the speedboat. They offer unparalleled liquidity. Stocks let you buy, sell, rebalance your portfolio, switch strategies in seconds. Did you get a new job offer across the country? Did you decide to go back to school? Do you have a sudden medical emergency? You can liquidate your assets and have cash in your bank account in a matter of days. That flexibility isn't a luxury, it's a necessity in the modern economy. It's the financial agility required to navigate a world that changes faster than ever. But the real kicker, the factor that's perfectly tuned to the Gen Z psyche, is speed. Not just the speed of transactions, but the speed of feedback and learning. Think about how a digital native learns anything. They don't read a manual, they tap, they swipe, they experiment, they get instant feedback. If it works, they do it again. If it doesn't, they try something else. With stocks, you can see gains or losses almost instantly. You make a small trade, you see the result. That quick feedback loop is an incredibly powerful learning tool. You can risk $50, make a mistake, and learn a lesson about market timing or FOMO that's worth thousands in the long run. The stakes are low, the lessons are immediate. Compare that to real estate, your feedback loop is measured in. You won't know if you bought in the right neighborhood at the right price for 10, 20, or 30 years. And if you made a mistake, it's a catastrophic one. Plus, the entire information ecosystem is built for this speed. The rise of user-friendly investing apps turned the cryptic world of Wall Street into a gamified, intuitive experience. And the explosion of FinTalk with finance creators on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram makes it easy to get started and stay informed. They've replaced the stuffy, jargon-filled advice of old-school financial advisors with accessible, peer-to-peer education. You can learn about dollar-cost averaging and the time it takes to brew your morning coffee. This constant stream of information and immediate feedback fits perfectly with how Gen Z learns and reacts. Of course, I can hear the traditionalists screaming, "But what about the risk?" And they're right, there's risk with stocks. But Gen Z's perception of risk is fundamentally different. They aren't naive. Many of them were children during the 2008 financial crisis. They saw their parents, their neighbors, lose everything in the housing market crash. The idea that a house is a perfectly safe investment was shattered for them at a young age. They've seen crypto roller coasters and meme stock manias. They understand volatility. For them, the real risk isn't just a market downturn, it's a lack of diversification. Buying a single house is the definition of putting all your eggs in one basket. It's one asset, in one neighborhood, in one city, subject to local market conditions, zoning laws, and even natural disasters. It's the ultimate concentrated bet. But with stocks, they know diversification matters. For the price of a single dinner, you can buy an ETF that gives you a piece of hundreds or even thousands of companies across different industries and countries. That, to them, is true safety. The risk of the market is manageable. The risk of being illiquid, undiversified, and geographically trapped is the one they're unwilling to take. Bottom line, this isn't about rejecting a dream, it's about redefining it. For Gen Z, investing isn't about tradition, it's about empowerment. It's about access to the game, flexibility to live life on their own terms, and the speed to learn and adapt in a chaotic world. Real estate might still be the American dream for some, but for this generation, it's a dream deferred, locked behind an impossible wall of cost and complexity. Stocks are where Gen Z is turning that dream into reality. Not with a 30-year mortgage, but one trade at a time. The new American dream isn't owning a piece of land, it's owning your future. So now I'm turning it over to you. The revolution is happening, but where do you stand? Are you team stocks, building your wealth with clicks and taps? Or are you team real estate, believing in the power of brick and mortar? Drop your allegiance in the comments below and tell me why. Let's get this conversation started.